there was just one person
That's what we like to hear. Alright.
Yeah,
I know, I just don't know, like.
Go for it, whoever's going first, go for it.
It's
All
okay.
right.
Oh,
Hello.
okay.
Yes.
I think we may need
I
to.
think we need to let them know each other.
Vamping time.
Uh-huh.
What has
Oh,
everybody been
well,
watching?
Come a little bit
talk
over.
about what's happening this week for the people.
Yeah.
So tomorrow, right?
Yes, okay, awesome, amazing. Tomorrow, we have our distro panel for the first time ever at noon, where we have executives from OTV, Fox, Vanishing Angle. There are more.
And we have Elijah McKinnon from OTV. Oh, nice.
Hello.
Where
Do it
can we
again.
check it?
Is it like it's,
We have Michael Bullieri from Film Forward.
Hello.
Productions.
Yes.
It's working.
Ooh, what time is that? Oh, it's gonna be at noon. Yes, and if you have a pitch that
Oh,
you
gosh,
would like
no.
to submit,
I
so
started
anyone.
sweating the moment you
You can watch other people sweat.
Yeah, watch others sweat and get feedback and kind of hear how to create a winning pitch, essentially.
Cool.
And
That's great.
you'll get the feedback from people who get pitched to all the time.
This is for educational purposes only.
Yes.
We have to say that for legal reasons because we're
Oh,
not
right.
giving anyone anything.
Yeah.
That includes you people online. So you get to watch people pitch and learn how to pitch. This is not actually pitching. Wink, wink, nod, nod. You're always pitching.
All right, Leo.
Okay. Well, we just want to welcome you to our 2025 Queer Film Summit. We are on day 2, and this is our Unsung Heroes of the Big Screen, celebrating the crew that make it happen. All right, cheers to the crew. We love them. It's part of a week-long series where we bring together industry folk that exist within the queer space and talk about, everything that happens behind the scenes in front of the camera, including, how to create a low-budget feature film, crew roles, special effects, practical effects, and also distribution and pitching your project. So as Ava and Io said, tomorrow, Thursday, October 2nd, we do have our From Pitch to Premiere, The Real Deal on distribution, and live speed pitch session, which is a strictly educational only moment for you. So educational for you to bring your ideas, pitch them to a panel of distributors and industry professionals and get instant feedback. And also just get the practice of pitching your ideas in front of people because it can be very scary. So this is a good chance for you to practice.
Yeah.
And we also want to talk about what's happening after this. We have a really great short block called Lasting Impressions, which starts at 3 p.m., which will also be available online tomorrow morning, Thursday, October 2nd. Yeah. All right, so I think we're ready to get started.
Can we start with everyone introducing yourself, your pronouns, what role or roles you play in the industry? And since we have this small panel here, we might as well just get into it if you want to give your background and experience. We'll start with Brian here.
Hi, I'm Brian Fort. My pronouns are he, him.
If you can speak directly into the mic.
Okay.
There you go.
Hi. This is different for me.
Yeah.
My name is Brian Fort. My pronouns are he, him. I work at a prop house, a prop rental facility for film and television. I've been in the film industry for around 30 years.
Oh, wow.
awesome.
Is there anything else you want to share about your background?
Oh, I'm single.
Yes. Come through.
Exactly.
I was born and raised in Los Angeles. I moved away from LA 10 years ago. I had no inclination when I was living in LA to ever work in the film industry. It just sort of fell in my lap. I was working at a job where I sold rubber O-rings and seals for hydraulic and pneumatic cylinders.
That is so specific.
How butch is that? That's so butch.
So good.
Let me get on that forklift and raise it up. And I did not have a good relationship with my boss. He was horrible. I actually came out while I was working there, and he would say the most horrific things to me. And one day I just said, you know what? F you, I'm out. And I just sort of fell into the film industry, you know, and I've been doing that ever since.
Awesome.
Hi, I am Miguel Andres Garcia. I am he, him. What were the other questions?
What's your role or roles in the
Yes.
industry?
I am a stunt performer. I've been performing since 2016. I started out in LA. I'm originally from California as well. I'm from Bakersfield, which is 2 hours north of LA. Exactly. But I started in live shows, and I guess for my background, I was a gymnast. I fell in love with Buffy the Vampire Slayer, so that was kind of the reason
Awesome.
why I wanted to get into stunts, because I was, like I said, I was a gymnast. I was flipping, hitting the ground, doing all this stuff.
Circus performing?
Yes, well, that's what ended up leading me to the circus. It was that.
Stop right now.
Yeah.
But keep going.
I was like, I want to be that guy that she kicked into a dumpster, and I'm like, what's that job? Because it was like high school for me, so I was like trying to figure out my life path, and I was told my friends in the gymnastics gym, and we were training, and then slowly they introduced me to like Cirque du Soleil and like the videos like that, and I was just like, well, this is still kind of performing. So I kind of went the live show route, which we all kind of in the stunt world kind of have come from different routes, but I came from a live show route, so I ended up going through the circus side of things, and I ended up in Vegas as well and performing for Cirque du Soleil and different circuses around the US too, technically. But yeah, then 2016 I made the transition out of live shows, because I started in 2005, fast forward 2016, LA, and now I've been doing stunts since 2016, and then I came out here right after the pandemic in Georgia.
Oh, cool. Awesome.
Quick question. When you say live show, what do you mean?
Like any stage, like any like live production of like there are stunt fighting shows in Orlando at Disneyland. There's like Indiana Jones. Those are some stunt fighting shows. There's some in California as well, Waterworld. But those are like specific on the stunt side. But then there's also like live shows of circus and like acrobats, and they're just a little different, but still very physical. So yeah, never sang, never danced, but those are also considered live shows. Yeah.
Oh, that's very hard. So Nicole Kemper, she, her, and let's see, how did I get involved in the film industry? So for my undergraduate, I had actually been pursuing theater and English or writing, really, and then when I graduated, I didn't really know how to get a job, and so I waited tables for a long time at really bad late night bars. So for many years, I just slung wings and beer, and it was terrible, and I was like, I can't do this. And I was watching a lot of movies at the time, and I started writing some scripts, and I really had no training in it, but I really wanted to kind of shift my focus to writing and directing films. And so I'm from here, so I'm born and raised in Georgia.
Oh yes, come through.
And then, so I got accepted to graduate school at Columbia College of Chicago. So I went up to Chicago for a few years, couldn't hack the weather, had to come back immediately. And while I was there, learning about writing and directing, I was like, okay, I have to find a trade. I have to find something I can do so that I can live as an artist and never have to work at one of those bars again, so that I can support myself as an artist. So while I was there, I discovered that I really loved post-production. When I went into school, I couldn't do anything more than send an email. Like, I didn't know anything about computers. I was
Stop it.
I'm serious. I was absolutely tech incompetent.
She's the most tech-savvy person I know. If I have an editing question, I go to her.
Tech incompetent. So just know that you can always start over. But I think editing is a lot like writing, and I think that's why I was so attracted to it. Also, we were talking about this earlier, how unpleasant it could be to be on set sometimes, and I was like, I don't think I'm built for this. I'd rather you bring me the movie when it's already shot, and then I just put it together. That was kind of how it started, and then when I came back to Georgia, because I couldn't stand the weather, I worked at a post house called Guillotine Post, where we did like commercials and corporate videos and a lot of stuff for broadcast and some independent films. And then I worked freelance for a long time, and then I taught editing at Georgia Film Academy for about 6 years, and now I'm back to freelance because I really wanted to get back into editing. So that's where we are now. And I also do color grading. I should mention that.
Beautiful
Sure
color
does.
grading, my God.
How do I follow that up? But it's really interesting because, like a couple of years ago, we could, like, as filmmakers and artists, kind of like walk into a place and like unlearn and relearn like skills. So that's really interesting. But yeah, my name is Argy Seth. I go by she, they, them. I've lived a very nomadic life. So I've lived in Hong Kong, Philippines, India, partially Myanmar, and then now in the United States. So worked in all those industries, started off, well, I've done PA work, production coordinator work, UPM work, editing work, but my resume is the most populated with production coordinator roles because I started off in Philippines, in this film called Gorillas Are Poets that like went into a lot of like film festival, Asian film festivals, and through those accolades I went to India and then worked a little bit over there in like local TV commercials, like indie like regional cinema and like a lot of like big budget like blockbuster that you see in like Bollywood films and etc. So did a lot of production coordinator work over there, and I was really young. Then finally went to Hong Kong, got my first UPM role over there for this film, I'm blanking on the name, called Jin, which was like a World War II epic. And then moved over here for my university education, and then very luckily got an assistant UPM role for a film that was originally for Netflix but is now on Tubi. So yeah, I basically got handed that. I was very green in the industry over here, and then ever since then I've been doing like a lot of PC work, but since late 2024 I'm trying to transition into full-time screenwriting. So that's a little bit about me.
Can you introduce yourselves really quick? 'Cause I don't
That
think we
is,
said
I
our
hope
names
you
in
said our names. Oh
Yeah,
my
just so
goodness.
people know who we are.
We're just strangers.
So we're like,
Right.
no.
My name is Leo Holland, he, him.
Word.
I am part of the Queer Film Alliance Industry Engagement Committee for Development Film. Io and I put together the Queer Film Summit the first time last year in 2024. This is our second time doing this. A chance to bring people from the community and at the festival together to learn and network and figure out more about the industry and behind the scenes. And we always make sure that it's free because accessibility is really important to us.
Yes.
My name is Ava Davis. If you don't know me, then now you do. But also too, like Leah already said it all, I'm a board member, help out with industry engagement. And what we found is that when Leo and I joined the board, there had not really been filmmakers involved. Wild concept, I know, wild. So we were like, okay, so this would be mutually educational. And we've been informing the community and inviting filmmakers to the space since.
And I'm Io Layton, they, them pronouns. board member, all of the things Ava and Leo have been saying we do together. So board member, co-lead of our artistic development programs at Out on Film, and co-coordinate, co-lead the Queer Film Summit, our Queer Film Alliance. If you're not on our email list, get on our email list, please. Oh, here, I've got the new Queer Film Alliance t-shirt.
Yes.
We'll give you all some t-shirts too, and everyone who's here today.
Thank you.
Thank you for showing up.
Swag.
Yeah, and I think that's it. So we'll get back to our previously scheduled program. Now that you know who we are. All right, so what do we have here for you? Oh,
Come on.
what is the biggest misconception that people have about what you all do? And how do you enlighten them if there ever people approach you and they're confused? And yeah, we'll start with Brian. Or enlighten us.
There are actually a couple of things. The first one I will say is whatever role you play in the film industry, people think it's this most glamorous type of job, when in reality, it's grueling. Secondly, for what I do, for props can fall under a large umbrella, you know, set deck, furnishings, drapery, artwork. What I do is more hand props that the actors will hold in their hand, or props that will be set on a table. Anything that an actor will hold in their hand is basically like what I focus on for my job. So those would be the two things I think are the biggest misconceptions. When people think props, the first thing they think about is, oh, that giant kitchen table or the sofa. Yeah.
Can I say? Brian is going to do a show and tell. Anyone can come up here at the end of the panel if you want to touch any of the props. He's given everyone permission to do that, so thanks, Brian.
Because I'm so curious about this guitar.
Yes, it's gorgeous.
But
There's
it's
some.
wild.
Nico is videoing it for anyone who's watching this online.
I saw that one and I was like wondering, what is a good misconception for stunts? And I guess it's not so much about stunts, but it's something that kind of spans the industry as far as and not to put down any actors by any means, but there's always that statement of like, oh, the actors did their own stunts. But there is a team behind them that built it, that made sure it was safe, that tested everything out, that made sure the laws of physics, you know, work properly so we don't get the actors hurt. Because at the end of the day, you know, in the sense of the actor in the film, you know, we don't want them to get hurt because then everything stops. So yeah, I guess that's kind of our biggest misconception for stunts.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
that's cool. I would say the biggest misconception about post-production, I think, is that I don't know that people always realize how much editing and editors have an effect on the storytelling, on the end result of the film. Like, I think there's this idea that the film gets shot and then you just kind of piece it together like a puzzle. And it is kind of like that, only the puzzle doesn't fit together one way. There are just really a lot of ways to put the puzzle together. And so editors, I think, have to develop their own sense of storytelling, and also, if you're wanting to go into a lot of different genres, different abilities to move between those genres, as well as the ability to listen to the creative team, whether that's the director or the producer or whoever, and really understand what they are trying to do and how you can contribute to that. Like, how can I take what you want and what can we do with this to make it the best it can be in the result that you're trying to get. And so directors will pick the same editors over and over again for a reason, because they understand each other, they develop a language, and they have similar storytelling styles. And so I think not everybody knows that.
Thank you. And can you speak to color grading too?
Oh, color grading. Yeah, I think some people, well, first of all, whenever people ask me what the difference between color grading and color correction is. I always say there isn't one because they're the same thing. Because color correction is, to me, part of color grading. So a lot of people don't really know what color grading means. Sometimes they kind of think of it as maybe taking something like a camera setting or a LUT and kind of putting it on everything, and it's a lot more than that. You're correcting problems, but even if you have footage that's beautifully shot and has no problems, you still have to match up all the shots, because no matter how good the crew is, when you move the camera, there's inherently going to be differences between some of the lighting and color of each of the shots. So you got to match everything up, and then maybe oh wow, I'm working on a thing right now that we're wrapping up, and I love this filmmaker that Christina, who I've worked with before we worked on What Friends Are For, and she's really pushing me in the best way, because she'll be like, what can we mask? I'd like this to be, can we take this down and maybe bring this up? And we're really like relighting some shots a lot in post, and and you can do that. You can kind of mask things off, bring this up. Oh, the actor's eyes, let's brighten those up. And there's just so many things that you can do. It's just really, really flexible with the digital technology. And so I think a misconception about color grading is that I think a lot of people just don't know what it is, and that even when the footage is shot correctly, you still need to do it.
Oh, thank you.
Photoshopping, but for video. I guess yes and no, because I think there's a lot of other. Well, let me think on that. Maybe more like Lightroom might be a better comparison.
A misconception about production coordinator work is the glamour, because I think it's, because it's like above the line crew. A lot of people think that you have like a very direct access to your executive producers after the film ends, but you don't. Like, you might think that like, oh, we worked with this person for so long, from the conception to the end, while wrapping up the film, you have built a rapport, but it's like, oh, I have the script, you have the money, you have the connections, can we like get into it? But no, like they look like a lot of executive producers that I personally work with did want like a very separate, like professional life from you, and they don't want to engage if you have worked in any other capacity. Like now that I'm trying to transition into screenwriting, I cannot approach previous executive producers, and sometimes you get treated like, in terms of budgeting, you don't get treated like really well. If there's like a number off, it's not very nice. So yeah, a lot of the like below the line crew does think that there are certain privileges, which there are, but there is still like a hierarchy that you have to abide by.
Arky, can you quickly, for some people that may not know, the idea of like what a production coordinator actually is and does is really like strange.
Yeah,
Talk
no.
about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So production coordinator, the way I like, the chef kind of like tells the what materials and what ingredients to get to the producer, and like the person who is kind of arranging those ingredients is what a production coordinator is sort of doing.
Like a sous chef?
Yeah, like a sous chef, yeah, it's like coordinate, like is this like vendor, like what's like just arranging the time, like abiding by the call sheet, like when abiding by the call sheet, like what props that does this particular, like the production designer has like finalized the props, so just like going to that vendor, picking it up, bringing it back, like ensuring like the machine sort of is well oiled is sort of what the production coordinator does. It's kind of vague, but that's how I would like to describe it in the simplest way possible.
It's a big job too. You're doing a lot. You have your hands in all of the things.
Yeah, I would say so.
Wow, thank you.
So we know what you do, how you do it and what the role is. Can you tell us a bit about sort of like mishaps that have occurred, how you've dealt with it, and maybe some happy accidents? Because a lot of times, especially in editing and just creating, like the mistake or just like an oops moment can sort of open up a whole another side of this project that you didn't really realize.
In terms of mishaps, yeah, it was like the first time I was working in as a UPM in the United States. It was a terrible mishap on set. Our executive producer hired someone who was very green as a seamstress, and they were undiagnosed ADD, and we were not told how badly they were being treated by their production head. And that person had a manic episode on set, and we were begging the executive producers to get a set medic for a week straight. They would not hire it. They would not hire them. So I was the only person who knew a little bit about mental health on the set, and what should I call it? Because of like my mom's background. So in those 24, it had gotten to a point where the person had a knife in their hand, like was threatening. Yeah, it had gotten to the point. So we get there, we try to, since I was the only person who knew anything about mental health, ADD, we tried to like put off a fire. And then I left one of our line producers to go to my dormitory and go to my bedroom and sleep. And then we get a text that this person just called the police on themselves. So it was a 24-hour day where we booked the flights back. I had to convince this person that it is only better if you head back home because this is not a way to work. And I had to sort of get the knife back from this person while there were 4 police officers surrounding me. So that was the worst time that I've had.
So the happy accident part of that, maybe it's like you helped them kind of get
your history and your background sort of helps. I had a different story about the happy accident.
My God,
are they okay now?
Oh yeah, they're okay now. They were telling me stories about like their best friend who's picking them up because they did not want their mom to be the one to picking them up. And then like after it got over, after like they were there, it's like, oh yeah, you were right. Like, seems like my best friend and I do have a thing. I'm like, yeah, right. And then, great, I'm so happy for you. But the happy accident was on the same set, and it was because of time crunch, where so we decided to do something in one take. And because every time, like, I've noticed that it's strange that I don't know if it's me being on set, but am I the jinx? Am I the problem? But yeah, it's just the time we had like time crunch, and we decided to do it in one take because it would be easier to like not to move the camera and have multiple camera setups. And it just turned out to be like one of the most beautiful experiences because like every time, I don't know if you guys have noticed while being on set, whenever people do have like we do plan a one take, everyone is on top of their game.
They're
Like,
focused.
you do that, you do that, you do that. All right, boom, 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 yelling, but like no one minds it, So that is something that I really enjoyed, and it was a happy accident.
I don't have anything like that. I feel like the worst thing that's gonna happen in post is like I said this earlier, somebody's gonna misplace a drive or the footage. I mean, certainly I've worked on things where not often, where like footage got lost or misplaced, or that's when people really freak out. But, so that, I think it would be the worst case scenario is that you can't find the footage, but that's why you always back it up to 2 drives, at least. 2 drives, always 2 drives. And then you're like, oh, we just have to get the other one. And so, here's the thing though, when a problem comes up, because there's lots of other little things, like, oh, why is the sync slipping? Like, why is the picture and the sound not staying together? Or, why are we getting this weird motion blur every time the actor moves? Or there are all kinds of weird little things that are happening. Oh, they shot in the wrong frame rate, and now we gotta figure out how to deal with that. So there's all those little things. I never get bothered by those things. I actually am a very anxious person, as anyone who knows me will know. But for some reason, when stuff like that happens, I kind of lock in, and I actually get very excited about the problem that I have to solve. So I go immediately into problem-solving mode, and because almost every time, I can't really think of a time where the problem didn't get solved eventually. So I don't stress about issues in post-production because they always get solved one way or another, and I always learn something new when I solve a problem, so I get very excited about that. As far as happy accidents goes, I think every edit is full of happy accidents, and that, so I wish I could think of like a really specific example, but for the most part, when you cut something together, the first edit, the rough cut, is like the worst version of the film that is ever going to exist. You watch it and you're like, this is terrible, we wasted our money, this is horrible. And so very rarely has a rough cut looks good. I mean, every now and then you look at one and you're like, oh, that's actually not that bad. But most of the time they look pretty bad. And so then you just kind of have to be ready to rearrange some things, or maybe remove some things, or maybe readjust your thinking, or maybe even take footage that was meant for this and repurpose it. And that's really the magical part, is when you're discovering the film in post and things about it that you didn't plan on, but then suddenly become maybe your favorite part of the movie. And so that's, I think, just staying open to that in post is good, and not getting caught up in, well, this is the film in my head that I was making, and just being open to that part of it.
Quickly, because you're talking about, continuing to be open, there are a lot of filmmakers that edit their own projects.
Mm-hmm.
As an editor, are you someone that's like, it's important to not be too close to the project so you can accept those changes?
So, so as far as filmmakers who edit their own projects, I am one of those people that edit my projects. And I definitely think there is a danger of getting, being so close to it that you can't be flexible enough. But I think the solution to that is to always have people on your team that you trust, that are in the process with you, giving you notes, and other people outside of the team even, just like people that weren't part of the film at all. Other filmmakers, or even my husband has nothing to do with the film industry, but he has no qualms about telling me how he feels about my film, and he will give me the most honest thoughts. And so I think just having people that'll be honest with you about things, even if they don't understand film and they're just like, I don't know why, but this scene is boring to me, or whatever, or I don't understand why she's doing this, or whatever. That helps to get a little bit of outside perspective. You have to if you're editing your own stuff.
Going off the first one, the mishap, there was a project that I got to do out in Philadelphia that, unfortunately, as we were going through the month, it was going to be like a whole TV series. The actor that I was doubling ended up getting recast, after we'd almost basically finished the whole thing. There was some internal stuff happening behind the scenes, obviously, and I ended up becoming the body double instead of just the stunt man. So it became oh shoot, I'm coming to set, and I was like, I'm just gonna chill today because there's no stunts on set. And then my stunt coordinator came up to me, he's like, did you hear what happened? And I'm like, no, I have no idea. And you just kind of get thrown into these new situations, and I ended up being his body double for all the acting scenes with his partner, and then vice versa, his other double. So it was it was interesting. It didn't last long because right quickly after that I got sent home because the actor that I was doubling got recast. So that was an unfortunate mishap. As far as a happy accident, recently, my last project, we filmed like a previs, so we kind of filmed like something just to kind of have an idea of what the concept is before we go in and film it on the day. And I tweaked my knee, and it was like, oh my gosh, like I'm kind of the hero in this fight, so I have to be there. Like they can't just like recast me because I was a stunt acting role. And thankfully, because acting is something new for me, it's something that scares me a little bit more than just the physical side of stunts. And I tweaked my knee enough to be so cautious about it that when it came to like the acting scenes, I was just like, oh, acting, whatever. I'm just like, let's take care of this knee. Let's not continue hurting it. But it just helped me like get out of my way so that I can be more present and perform better. So yeah.
For those who don't know, what is previs?
So it's a pre-visualization, and literally sometimes it's included in like the package, like the bigger projects, they kind of have it in their budget. As far as like smaller projects, we kind of do it on our own. And it's the stunt team, strictly comes together, we kind of map out the space. I don't know if you've seen online or some random stunt videos of people with boxes all around them. We love our cardboard boxes in the stunt world, and we just map out the space and we design what the action is going to be and how we're going to film it. And it's kind of like a guidebook to show the director, show the higher ups, just like, hey, this is how we would like to film it. This is how, if we're getting it from this angle, you can get this action, and help to tell the story as far as the action goes. So when we show up on the day, we already have like a game plan. It's like, okay, we're gonna do this, and things always change, but a previs is just kind of like going in with a game plan. So yeah.
What, really quick, so speaking of happy accidents, or I was thinking of you particularly, like anything scary stunt-wise that you were like, I can't do this, and then you did it, and it was, you surprised yourself, or
Because
the
with
opposite
stunts,
of
you
that?
don't want to be surprised.
No, not at all. And so you kind of come in, you kind of really don't ever know what you're doing on the day, unless it's like a really big job. So like if it's like a driving stunt, like they're not gonna just pick Joe Schmo off the street and be like, hey, go slide this car 360 and whatever. But for the most part, the big jobs, they tend to find the right person. So you kind of know going in. But there have been some where like, I got to work on Black Panther, and the second one, Wakanda Forever. And the director or the coordinator came up to me, he's like, hey, because he knew I dove, I swam as well, so I was a gymnastics diving is a combination. And he's like, hey, what's your highest high dive? And I knew that, well, I knew that like I had done like the highest platform, like
Which is how high?
I think it's like about 30 feet. Like it's the first like platform like this summit.
Wait, ooh, wow.
But so I get there, and so it wasn't one of those where it was just like I didn't know it was coming, but when we did the rehearsal that day and they had set up the stage after he had already asked me, he was like, oh yeah, I can do this. And then I get there and it's like, oh, can I do this? Like I'm just like, here we go. But thankfully we had a rehearsal day and I can get like all the jitters out and everything. And it worked out well, and it thankfully was like kind of a turning point for me personally in that project, because I kind of like got confidence again in myself. I'm like, okay, I am doing a good job. You know, people liked what I did. So yeah, it was kind of one of those situations. But I didn't go in fully blind, but it was one of those things where it's like, yikes, you know.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, cool.
Okay. So with props, there's a lot that could happen that could be a mishap. One thing that comes to mind for me is years ago, the movie A Few Good Men. Production had finished and they came to us and they wanted to rent some swords that they were going to use for photo shoot, and this photo shoot was for the movie poster.
Mhm.
With props, when we rent, we have like a serial number on each item, and it has to be in a very inconspicuous area, because if they're using it like on screen, you can't see our serial number on it. Well, they used the sword, and if you all remember the movie poster, it's got a soldier with a sword right in the middle, and they had edited it, they had done it, and it was ready to go, and there was our ISS number sitting
On the
like
poster?
on the poster.
Oh, wow.
So it was like, oh, that's a big no-no, so they had to go back and redo the whole photo shoot. That was a big one. Also, I don't want to get dark, but things like what happened on the Rust set are
It's real.
real. You know, those things can happen. Fortunately for us, we were not involved with that production, but when you have crew that, when you try to stretch, you know, people and say, okay, you're gonna be the armorer, you're gonna be the prop master, you're gonna be this, and there's a lot of chaos going on, things like that can happen. There's no way a loaded gun, a live round should have ever been on set to begin with. But there are a lot of mishaps that can happen. Fortunately, things like that don't happen very often. So that's always a good thing. We don't want things like that to happen. Now, a happy thing. It wasn't happy for me at first, but we rent fake money for film. You know, you see money, people throwing money all over the place, like, you know, P-Valley, they all money going everywhere. You know? We had rented a bunch of wrapped money, like if you get like $10,000 stacks, you know, from the bank. And it was for a Lady Gaga music video for Poker Face. And they had undid all the wraps, and they threw the money all over the place. And if you remember the music video, there were bills with her face that they had printed on there.
No.
And when they brought it all back, it was just in a big old box, and it got handed to me, and I was like, oh my God, I have to sort through all this and revamp all the money, and it was a lot of work. So I'm going through. Bam, one of those bills with Lady Gaga's face on it. I'm like, that's mine.
Okay.
It's mine.
Did you bring it?
I don't have it. Somebody offered me $1,000.
Oh, okay. That
I
part.
was like, it's all yours.
That's part.
Yeah, but you know, that was a happy mishap for me. You know, I was all upset at first. Oh my God, there's so much work. Having to put all this money back together, and then I'm like, bam, okay. So yeah.
Oh, I love it.
Cool.
Okay, so I'm always curious about, yes, we're telling these lovely polished stories, but what's the tea on set? What are the things that have happened that are safe to share because remember you're live? But we want to know, if you don't feel comfortable sharing tea, also, what is it like navigating the industry as a queer professional? So take that question as you will, but hopefully we can hear how that experience has been. And if you don't feel like sharing, then give us some amazing tea. Feed us.
One of the first things, well, I started my career in LA. One of the first things I really did on set was a Christina Aguilera video for the Voice Within from Dirty. It was filmed at a old theater in downtown Los Angeles, and I was green. I didn't know what the heck I was doing. So they put me behind a box and they said, here, you work the smoke machine. I'm like, smoke coming out. And, you know, I was young back then. I thought I looked cute and all this stuff. And this guy was following me. Oh, thanks. This guy was following me around all over the place. And I'm like, who is this guy? And then these two girls start talking to me, and they're like, oh, are you gay? And I'm like, yeah. And they go, oh, no wonder Dave is following you around. And I'm like, who is that guy? He's freaky. Well, it was Dave LaChapelle. And he was like all on me, and I didn't know who he was. I was like, who is this guy? He's following me around. Dave LaChapelle, a big old photographer, director. And then his boyfriend showed up. And then he stopped like following me around, and I was like, well, damn.
Okay.
So that's some tea that I have about being on set.
Nice, thanks.
Tea, I don't know if I have good tea, but I do have I guess, in respect to the second half of the question, as far as the industry, the stunt world is very, I mean, there's very few queer people in the stunt world. Like, I'll just leave it at that. So it's interesting coming from the live show world where I was very myself, very kind of where I discovered myself, and then I was very free to be myself. Then coming to the stunt world kind of felt like a bit of a step back. I had to re-question, like, oh, can I be openly out and like still get jobs? Like, it's a kind of a question that popped up, and it surfaces itself like every once in a while, and it still is like a thing. I've definitely, because I started in LA, and then when I moved out to Atlanta, it was a nice, like, almost like separation that I allowed myself to be like, okay, you know what? Whatever that person was, like, I'm not gonna be them anymore. Like, I'm gonna be myself. If I get work, I get work. If I don't, I don't. And it's been amazing, actually. So it's been a nice transition to kind of revisit, kind of finding myself. But it's an ongoing journey still. And stunts is still very kind of closed. I hate to say that, but it's changing, and it has been. So, and I've seen a massive change. And like, I started 2016 to like now, and it's changed a lot.
Thank you for sharing that.
Cool, yeah.
Tea. I don't know that there's a lot of tea in post-production. I mean, I honestly, I wish I had some
There's
tea.
nothing fun you see that's like, oops.
I mean,
I've seen some secret files.
I feel like whatever if I had seen something, I probably couldn't say anything about it. And whatever you see is probably your. I feel like there's like a secretness when whatever you see in post stays on the cutting room floor, I guess. But as it relates to the second question, I would say that I have been for some time, but especially now, making very deliberate choices about what stories I get involved with, because I want to be part of making sure that the voices that I think there is a huge effort to try to silence. I want to be part of making sure that those voices are being heard, and I'm seeing stories being erased and retold and in a false way in real time, and so I'm trying to put my energy into those voices and those stories, because we're not going to go back in the box.
No.
They want to put us in the box. They want to put us back in the box, but we're not going to go back in the box.
Nope.
And so, I'm not a public servant. I have no interest in running for any kind of office, but I can color grade some people's films and make sure they get up on screen and that other people see them.
Yeah.
I don't think I necessarily have any tea on set. I think the only tea that I would have is that a lot of times it does feel like they don't want to hire trans women in higher up above the line roles. That is certainly like, you can tell, a lot of times, like the looks that you get, the stares that you get, but that also kind of like, because I haven't worked on many like queer films in the States, but which is surprising. I worked more in, in Hong Kong, like other countries. And it surprised a lot of people because it's like, what, like why less over here and, more over there, because we're a land of the free and, but that's,
So,
right? The greatest country on the earth, right? But
Archie told it funny.
But yeah, the tea is that in queer film, in queer cinema across the globe, the struggles are connected throughout the world, and you see the same like right-wing talking points and oppression across the world, regardless of where you are. But that sort of like propels in queer cinema for us to be like more collaborative. It is definitely more cozy on queer film sets.
Isn't it though?
It's great.
Isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And that's across the board. We're, because of the shared struggles and the lack of resources that we have, you definitely have to like surpass your ego and what you have done and make like this child, that you're birthing, and like be more collaborative, and it gets really cozy. Like you're chilling in like a dorm of like a college student that wants to work with you, who's also queer and passionate. There was this one time where we were filming this scene in a Hong Kong alleyway, and this one, and it was like kind of like a hot scene, right? And this one bystander, it was like at 1 a.m. and it was like a skeleton crew. This one bystander sort of started filming, and we realized that he was queer as well and somewhat famous in Hong Kong, and like just basically went back to with us to our dormitories. Everyone was like staying at my 2-bed apartment in Hong Kong, and we were just like slumped in there for like the next 7 days. And the same person introduced us to photographer Wing Xia, who who's really famous in Hong Kong, but like, I don't know if you guys seen Mood for Love and Wong Kar Wai films.
Yes.
So he introduced us to him, and that was really cool.
Wow.
Long answer, I'm sorry.
That's the long answer.
I have a question to that, and I guess it kind of applies to each of you, but when you face those setbacks, whether it's because of your gender or sexuality or gender expression, how do you navigate that? Like if you're speaking to filmmakers coming up, how would you tell them to navigate that? Or I guess what advice would you give for yourself back then?
Back then, it's strange because I was mass presenting back then. Like I hadn't realized that I was trans, and whatchamacallit. But I still like, so as like a 19, 18-year-old who wanted to make like great cinema, but also have to like confine myself to like traditional masculine standards of like, I want to make Tarantino, like I want to make like these kind of films, but at the same time, like I had like my main focus was the conversation between two men in discussing their sexuality in that Tarantino-esque movie. And that, like I look back on that, and it's just like my main focus wasn't the violence in the film, it was that. So navigating that, I mean, now I'm openly there, and like I am like not letting anyone, say that like you don't belong because you're queer. Like I'll make my own thing, like I'll make my own way. But back then I would definitely be like, easy on yourself, and this is so corny, but yeah, be easy on yourself. Yeah, that's what I would say to myself. Yeah.
Oh.
It's so funny that it's not cheesy at all, because that's kind of exactly the same thing that I was gonna say. So I'm just gonna distill this down to one very brief story. I was doing the Video Village on like a very low budget commercial shoot or something, and that's Video Village is when you're like in charge of playback, basically. And I'm standing at Video Village with the little monitor and stuff, and then I felt this weird like tingle in the back of my head, like I felt this strange sensation back here where my hair is, and I kind of ignored it, and then I felt it again, and I turned around.
No.
This older man
Oh.
who was on the crew was smiling at me, and I was like, that guy just touched my hair. Like, he touched my hair. And then I was like, I'm just gonna ignore this, because I was on this set with a bunch of other people that I didn't really know. Like, somebody had gotten me this gig, and I knew nobody was gonna back me up or anything. So I was like, I'm just gonna ignore this. And then later, the same guy tried to ask me out on a date. And what I hated about that whole thing, besides that, was that I knew that I couldn't just be like, this is inappropriate and you're creeping me out. So instead, I just had to laugh it off and be like, oh, I'm very flattered, but no. And I was mad that I didn't just stand up for myself, but in the moment, I guess I realized in the moment that I really didn't have a choice.
It's cultural programming.
Yeah, and the reaction, the automatic reaction is to smile and laugh and diffuse, right? So I would definitely say to myself, go easier on yourself, because what other choice did you have in that moment? And I would say, exactly like you said, that I have made it my goal to put myself in spaces where I'm not gonna have to put up with stuff like that. And I've made it a career goal to choose the spaces I'm going to be in and the people I'm going to be working with. And if I encounter somebody who makes me feel devalued, or who talks over me, or who says my ideas are dumb and then presents them like they're their ideas, or whatever it is, all of those things, then I'm just not going to work with that person. And I'm going to, and it means that there are certain jobs I'm not going to get, and it means that there are certain spaces I'm not going to have access to, but I don't want to be there. So,
my response is very similar to them as well. It's I guess the best example I can give, which I just kind of gave, was the transition from when I was out in LA to coming out to Atlanta. I look back at when I started in stunts, and I kind of felt like there was a picture of a person that I had to be, and I was trying to fit into this person that had all these skills and that acted a certain way, because it was, it's very much a boys club, and I was, in high school and in school, I always avoided those clubs, and now I'm like, oh, this is the career that I'm trying to choose, and how do I navigate this? But coming out here, I kind of have the opportunity to reset, and it's just kind of like, be yourself, because ultimately we're the artists, so present the work, because the work is what's gonna, that's your special superpower.
What I'm also hearing from this too is sometimes if you feel stuck in a certain version of you, sometimes making a move where there can be a new version of you can exist is sometimes maybe the answer.
100%. Yeah, it worked for me at least to reinvent myself. And like I said, I'm still working on it, but it goes along with the same process of just being graceful with yourself.
So for me, I came out in the very early 90s. There was no queer representation anywhere, and I came out and I was like, okay, now what? I don't know
That part.
I don't know anybody, I don't know where to go, I don't know what to do. And I used to feel like I would, for lack of a better term, butch it up wherever I went, because I just wanted to be accepted, because I felt like if I'm an openly queer man, I'm not going to be accepted wherever I go. So, working in the film industry at that time was a straight man's world. So again, I felt like I was in a place where I had to butch it up. And when I started working at the prop house, I was working directly with a girl, and we would talk and talk and talk. And she finally one day just said, are you gay? And I was like, yeah.
Sounds like you get that question a lot.
And I'm like, hello, I don't, I mean, but it's different when you don't say it as to when you do say it. And when I said it in my place of work, I felt a little bit empowered. But for many years still working, I felt like I still had to kind of keep it low, you know. Then comes, I think it was 2008 when Obama won his first. I was in LA. It was the presidency that Obama won, and it was also Proposition 8, which was the gay marriage. And it was, gay marriage was, it wasn't voted in, it was voted down. And I went to work, and I was very quiet. I was really torn because I was very happy that President Obama was now our president, but I was like, I live in Los Angeles, California. How could Prop 8 not pass? So I went to work. That morning I woke up and I went to work and I said, I'm not gonna talk about it to anybody because I was emotional and
You were grieving.
yeah, it was not easy. And I was out at work, but I still wasn't like, I didn't really talk about it, whatnot.
You were palatable gay.
Yes, not anymore. And one of my coworkers, an older, woman, came into the department that I was working in, and another coworker was talking to me, asking me a lot of questions about how I felt, and I was just, I'm fine. And then she butted in and she was like, well, the reason it didn't pass is because marriage is supposed to be between a man and a woman.
Here we go.
And it's
Here we
because of
go.
procreation and da-da-da-da-da. And I was like, okay, bitch. And I was like, I let loose.
Yes.
I was like, how old are you? In your 60s? You can't have kids no more, so maybe it should be illegal for you to get married if that's what you think that marriage is about. And I was like, and at that point, I was like, I'm not going to damper myself. I'm going to be who I am fully and authentically, and if that means I'm a bitch sometimes, then I'm a bitch sometimes. And it was like the ignorance from people, that I got, I had to try to turn it around and put it back on them because they speak about things they don't know anything about, and especially in the film industry back then when it was a man's world. I'm a man. Just because I'm gay does not mean I'm not a man, and I can do anything that a straight man can do, and some things I can do even better.
Mm-hmm. Come through.
So, it's like,
Okay.
yeah. So it's like those things. It's like my story might be a little different because I'm older than most of you, and like I said, when I came out, it was still years before even Will and Grace came on TV, and it was like I didn't have anybody to look up to. Yes, I had met a group of friends and we would go out to the Abbey in West Hollywood and have a good old time, but then come Monday, it was like, okay, back to kind of being a little butch boy and, just working. And I don't do that anymore. I am my full authentic self wherever I go, and if somebody doesn't like it, well, they know where the door is.
Nice.
That was beautiful hearing from everyone and all of your experiences. Thank you.
I do want to ask real quick
Oh, yeah.
before we open it up. Are there any resources for anything that you have? If there's someone watching, people that want to get into the film industry and these roles,
Yes.
how would you go about that before we open it up?
Right.
Any free resources?
Free resources.
Well, I would like to think that I could be a resource to the queer film industry out here, because I know that it's hard when you're trying to make a film on a budget, especially if it's a queer film. So like I said, I would always be more than happy. You need props for your film, come see me. I'll hook it up.
Do I have a film for you?
Could you say the name of your company again? We are going to do at the end after questions. Well,
It's Independent Studio Services of Georgia.
thank you.
And my business card is over here. if
Yep.
anybody wants to take
Oh,
one.
okay, great.
We're gonna do show and tell after.
As far as a resource, the free stuff, I get this question asked a lot as far as like, oh, hey, how do I get into stunts? It requires, just get comfortable with your body, get physical. And then there's ways, obviously there's ways to do it freely. YouTube is a great resource. I started, when I was trying to learn stuff, I kind of watched a lot of YouTube videos. I too would answer questions. If Instagram is always a great way of reaching out to people. There's tons of videos now. There's a lot of stunt performers that are creating their own content. And it's just trying to find, it's so hard because there's not like one specific place. We're all kind of scattered. But Instagram is, I would say, is probably like the most collective of like trying to find stunt people. Literally just like search stunts and you'll start seeing videos of people's work and skill sets.
Awesome, thank you.
So I think if you're interested in getting into post-production, editing, color grading, the best thing to do, of course, is to do it. To find some folks that are wanting to make films, or maybe you're making your own films, or maybe you're just making web content or whatever, and just start editing. A great, really strong piece of software out there, DaVinci Resolve, has an excellent color grading, which is what I use for color grading, but it also has some VFX and some sound and some editing tools built into it as well, and a lot of people are kind of moving over from other programs to this. The other nice thing about DaVinci is that you can download it for free. There are some features that will be missing if you get the free version, but by and large, you can pretty much use it for a lot of stuff and learn a lot using it. So you can download that for free on their Blackmagic Design website or whatever. Also on that website they have an extensive video library of how to use like every single thing in DaVinci. Huge library, a curriculum, a lot of editing software typically they tend to gatekeep that information. DaVinci doesn't do that. So if some people ask me at times like, what if I'm trying to learn editing, what should I start with? And if I was starting over right now from scratch, I would start with DaVinci. Premiere is great, and there's a lot of resources out there about that. Avid, if you want to work in the capital I industry, you will have to learn Avid Media Composer. You just will. So just accept that. But to get started, DaVinci Resolve, excellent program. A lot of companies moving into that as their go-to editing program. So that's where I would start. And if you, I make some videos on YouTube about old film cameras. Working with motion picture film, like 8mm and 16mm, and some like analog editing kind of techniques. But I also do go over some color grading in those videos, color grading motion picture film. So that's on YouTube. Critical Crop Top Films is the channel. And so if you're interested in that stuff, I am making videos about that, and it's free. And also, Critical Crop Top Films is the name of my production company, and you can certainly reach out to me if you have any questions about editing stuff. I don't know if I can answer them, but you can. But yeah, I will offer myself as a resource as well.
Thank you.
With PC work, unfortunately, like it has been a ladder for me. So, like just starting out, I had to like start as like a PA and then assist the assistant director, and then like okay, you got something, kid, like, and then kind of move up. But just finding like that second tier UPM role, for me, like connections and like Facebook was really helpful during that time. So that was my like free resource. But just recently as a navigating like the independent sphere of being able to collaborate with others, the past roster of like the film festivals that I have been in has helped a lot. Like that's how I found Ava, because through Sundance roster, and like previous films that I worked on, which have gotten into certain film festivals, and like I'm transitioning into screenwriting. So 1497 was another like great resource. I'm just reaching out to like fellow screenwriters and just asking them like, do you mind connecting me to your manager and helping me out? And they're like, yeah, very willing. So yeah, those have also been a great resource. Out on Film has been a great resource. And yeah, I'm a free resource. Like, please hit me up. Yeah.
Thank you for talking with us. We're going to open it up to questions from the audience.
Ooh, great. And you'll just have to project, because we just.
I actually have two questions for Nicole.